Yes, people, Champions League football is back for another game week, and we will be doing a full Champions League roundup tomorrow, so watch out for that. But tonight, I need to get into the blockbuster tie. Real Madrid 1, Manchester City 2, and we'll be discussing the 5 things that we learned from this game tonight. And number one, I want to ask you guys, are City back into their groove? They have now won 4 games on the bounce. And listen, we know Manchester City, we know these Pep Guardiola sides, they always start the season a bit shaky. And then come the turn of the year, come the crunch time period of December, they seem to always kick into gear. And is that what we're seeing at the moment? Because they have won 4 games on the bounce now. Granted, 2 of those games against Leeds and Fulham, they were crazy games, high scoring ties. And honestly, some people can question City's wins in those games. However, they still won. Since then, they got a very good win against Sunderland, a 3-0 win. Granted, they had a red card, but Sunderland have been doing very well this season. And now, tonight, they get a win at the Bernabeu. And in the last 4 games of this tie, by the way, it hasn't been easy for City. They've lost 2 and drawn 2. So it's no easy feat. And even when you think about the knockout ties that they've had in the Champions League, they've always come out as losers, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not the year they won the treble. You guys let me know. You guys let me know. It's getting lost on my mind right now. But I mean, that's another thing. Madrid and City is starting to become, almost European rivalry, which is crazy and obviously makes me sad because it's not another team instead. But hey, but yeah, are City getting back into their groove? Are they about to go on one of those crazy runs where they really kick into gear and show the force that they are? Obviously, they've got such a new team, and I've voiced my concerns about the transition that they're going through, but we cannot also question the brilliance of Pep Guardiola and what he is capable of. So, will he be able to get these new set of players amongst the Haalands and the Fodens who have won it all? Can he get these new set of players? Shout out Shirky, by the way, man. What a baller! He's like streets won't forget, but he could accomplish it all as well. So shout out to Shirky, man. I just wanted to mention his name. But will they go on one of these insane runs that they always do? You let me know. What do you guys think? Whether they're capable of that this season? Number two, the second thing we learned is Nico O'Reilly. Shout out to Nico O'Reilly, man. His first Champions League goal today, his first appearance at the Bernabeu, and boy, did he have a debut at the Bernabeu to remember. His first Champions League goal, and what I'm saying that we're learning today is that Nico O'Reilly is really going to be a key player for Manchester City and Pep Guardiola this season. And listen, I don't want to say Nico O'Reilly is going to be a key player for Manchester City for a number of years because we've seen this before. Rico Lewis slotting at the fullback positions, even sometimes in midfield. And Nico O'Reilly is of the same nature. He is, a midfielder or more of an attacking player. He's not a defender originally, but he's filling in this left back position, and he's doing such a great job for them this season. And he is a standout performer if you want to talk about someone that has been good for them. And today he marks it with a poacher's goal, in fact, after a good header from Guardiola, and he's literally standing there in a striker's position and puts it away. Obviously, certain players, Carreras, ball watching, slow to react, but he's there to react and he scored. So Nico O'Reilly is definitely going to be a key player for Pep Guardiola and for Manchester City this season. How do you guys rate him? Do you guys think he could reach the top? Do you guys think he will become a mainstay in um, Manchester City's team? Or do you think it's going to be another one of Pep's number of players that come in the team and come out the team, like a Rico Lewis and these type of players? So let me know what you guys think about that. I also think it's interesting to see Pep Guardiola. He's kind of steering away from the the four centre backs as the back line, which he introduced to the Premier League. Which I always say Arteta. Sometimes it just feels like he's copying his boss, but you know that was something that Arteta definitely adopted from when Pep introduced that when they had um, I want to say Akanji, Stones, or Diaz, uh, Ake, Guardiola, and he was playing four centre backs at the back on the back line. And obviously, you see that with Arsenal nowadays, where they've got Calafiori and Timber and Ben White and these type of players who are all initially centre backs, but now they are all playing in a back four. So it's interesting to see that Pep Guardiola has seemed to revert he's reverting back to his usual fullback choices, not the full big tall centre backs, but the nimble and technically gifted left back and right back. And you're seeing that with Nico O'Reilly and Mateus Nunes. So that is number two. Number three, and I'm big on this, man. Rodrigo is still a quality player. I know he's been on a run of like 32 games without a goal, and today he broke that duck with an amazing goal. Like people will say, yeah, that's more than a good goal. You know, to the first touch, especially when Bellingham plays it to get it away from the defender. Think it's I think it's Guardiola. Correct me if I'm wrong, but to get away from the defender takes one more touch and then a great finish at an acute angle into the side netting, and it's a brilliant, brilliant finish. And what I really want to say about Rodrigo is that I know people seem to question him in terms of best right wingers in the world. I know he prefers to play on the left wing, but we've always known him to play on the right wing for Madrid. And I just believe irrespective whether his future is at Real Madrid or not in the long run, and whether he gets himself back into this team permanently, because we are seeing a bit of chop and changing in Jabi Alonso's side. If a Premier League side, one of the top Premier League sides, pick up Rodrigo, that guy will kill it in the Premier League. He will do, in my opinion, I think he will do amazingly in the Premier League. He's just such a quality player. Left foot, right foot, can dribble, very good at link up play, has a very good shot on him. He's tenacious. He's, for me, he's got the lot. I think he's just been low on confidence and out of form, but I believe Rodrigo, if next summer he's available, any of the top sides in the Premier League, if they pick him up, I believe they are in for a world class, top quality player. And this guy is a big game player, by the way, because he scored so many goals against City now, especially the one that I remember in the last few minutes and on their way to winning the Champions League where he knocked City out. So shout out to Rodrigo, man. Shout out to Rodrigo in a time where he's been scrutinized a lot. Number four, number four, Real Madrid's defense is simply not good enough to win the Champions League this season. I just don't think it is. I just don't think it is because um, Real Madrid, they've got the know-how, they've got so many Champions Leagues, and sometimes that class that they have and the know-how that they have, sometimes it pulls them through Champions League ties. Sometimes just that class that they have and it it gets them over the line. However, I don't think that is the case with this centre back pairing of I know Militao's injured, possibly who else? Who else is the other centre back? I'm forgetting. Remind me, guys. But Rudiger and Asensio. Asensio's still so young, and Rudiger, he just seems like he's just a bit past it. Obviously, giving away the penalty to Haaland, and he seems like he's just dropped a level because, of course, Militao and Huijsen are the centre backs that would are typically their first choice centre backs this season, I believe. But outside of them, it seems that Asensio, like I say, too young, and Rudiger's just he's just proven to be a bit too much of a maverick now, especially for today's game where the VAR is checking everything. Because what he did to Haaland, he could get away with that, maybe a few years back. But you can't really get away with that now. And it just seems like Rudiger's level has just dropped in the past year or so. But then we get to their right back situation. Valverde's filling in there. Valverde's best attributes are in midfield, although Valverde's a phenomenal player. And he's one of those players that can play in so many positions because he's that good. But at the end of the day, Carvajal's on his way out, and Trent having his troubles in terms of consistency at Real Madrid. And then left back, to be fair, Alvaro Carreras, God knows why, only God knows why Manchester United didn't utilize that player whilst he was with us. But he's actually been very, very good for Real Madrid. In fact, he's probably one of their best players this season. And to be fair, even for Rodrigo's goal, he played a great part in collecting the ball, winning back the ball, and then starting the attack, giving it into midfield that ended it up with Jude and then onto Rodrigo. Sorry, onto Rodrigo. So shout out to Carreras, but again, this is a player it's his first season at Real Madrid. He's got so much to learn, and I wouldn't put the expectation on Carreras to be, the one to really change the game for Real Madrid or improve Real Madrid's defense. And yeah, it just seems that Real Madrid's defense is going through a bit of a rough patch. So I don't think that Real Madrid's defense is good enough to win the Champions League this season, and I think it will be their downfall. And number 5, Xabi Alonso. Is his job in trouble at the Bernabeu? Is his job in trouble because since the Liverpool loss at Anfield, I believe it was at Anfield, in the Champions League, including that game, Real Madrid have since played 8 games. They've won 2, they've drawn 3, and they've lost 3. And I'm sorry, because they just lost against Celta Vigo and they crashed out with however many red cards. That standard is appalling for Real Madrid. That type of standard, if that continues, you can be sure that Xabi Alonso will not be the Real Madrid manager by the end of the season. Real Madrid definitely is the job in club football with the most pressure, not just by the board but by the fans. The fans are quick to turn on Real Madrid personnel when things aren't going well. And if this continues, because they've been on a really bad run, and it looked like at the beginning, by the way, like their first 15 games, I think they only didn't win one of those games or something like that. They started exceptionally, but you know how things can change in football, man. And if this continues, and if they slip away from the La Liga title, because it did seem that Barcelona weren't also at their best, like defensively or what it may be, with certain injuries. If Real Madrid, because Real Madrid went trophyless last season, guys, don't forget, Real Madrid went trophyless last season. So the board will not be messing around this season. I'm sure of that. So what do you guys think? Is Xabi Alonso, is he on the chopping block? Do you think that they'll be a bit more patient with him? What do you guys think? And will Xabi Alonso perhaps losing his job at the Bernabeu have an effect in the Premier League, have an effect on the Arnie Slot situation? Could Xabi Alonso get the sack from Real Madrid but end up back home at Anfield? Let me know, guys, man. Let me know, guys. Listen, comment, share, subscribe, all of that, man. And subscribe, people, man. Subscribe. I'm saying I'll be back tomorrow with a Champions League roundup. I'm out. Peace.